Yeah,
I'm old
I
enough.
got to hit with a lot of pros, men and women, over the years. I got to
Yeah,
play
that's
mixed
great.
doubles once with Yana Novotna and
Oh,
Anna,
beautiful.
Anna Kournikova. I get to play doubles
Yeah,
with
the problem is that we
Caroline.
don't have a WTA or AT. I don't think a ATP or WTA here
Not
in. Yeah,
not a big one.
we got to get back
I
to
know. I know.
Dallas and Houston. I mean, the big tennis
They're great
towns.
tennis
Yeah.
towns. I don't know why we don't. I mean, we used to fill up,
Well,
whatever
I
venue
know,
you
I
guys would
know.
go
I
to.
mean, you have college, good
Mm-hmm.
college teams and
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Rosie, let's go ahead and get started if you don't mind.
yeah.
Tell us about this honor you're receiving. I mean, tell me about what it feels like and what you think you're gonna feel when you get this
Well, I
treatment.
mean, obviously, it's always nice to be honored, and I think that let's cut this.
Sure.
I need to know the name of me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a real
Okay.
weekend tribute, really, today and tomorrow. So it's
Okay.
a tribute
All right.
from the weekend. So tell me about just your thoughts about all this.
All right. We ready to roll?
Yes,
We're ready
ma'am.
to roll.
We're
Yes,
here.
yes.
Okay. Well, it's very exciting, and Larry York, who actually worked for me some odd 40 years ago, I think, back in L.A., was very nice to organize this nice tribute to myself, Rosie Casals, as he says, first American Latin woman to be fairly successful. So I'm looking forward to the evening and meeting everybody. I actually, even though I go through Dallas all the time on my way somewhere else, I really have not been to Dallas or certainly not to Plano for a long while, and so I'm looking forward to the evening. It's very nice.
When you look back on your long storied career, what are you most proud of? What are your accomplishments? What kind of impact do you think you made?
Well, I think I'm most proud of how we changed the face of women's sports. Fighting for equality and nine women, the original nine, really, that made it happen way back when in 1970 with Gladys Heldman, who really assisted us in trying to find a way to get prize money elevated. Open tennis came into the picture in 1968, and the women really were not getting their fair share of the money. So, they were very unhappy, and so we were extremely, uh, at Forest Hills in 1970, we said we wanted more prize money, and we got a lot of the women together, and Gladys said, well, I think I might have a sponsor for you, the Virginia Slims, and that's how it all started in Houston back in 1970.
I think myself included, a lot of people don't think that group of women gets the credit and the place in history that they should be getting as far as attention goes. What do you think?
Well, I think a lot of people don't know the history of women's tennis or sport because that really opened a lot of doors to um, Title IX that came into effect in 1972, and women really being taken seriously that they wanted to earn a living and have a career. And, a lot of things started to change. And, I just came from the U.S. Open, and Sabalenka won $3.6 million, and that's a lot of money, right? And it was exactly the same amount that Sinner won in the men's. So, I would certainly use that slogan, "We come a long way, baby." And because of it, so many things have changed for women, not just in sports, but also in different aspects, the media, the business world for them. I think we showed them that we could make changes and that we were worth it, fighting for equality, and we continue to do so.
I know it's been a little more than 50 years. Do you think she'd still be getting that equal amount of money if it wasn't for your trailblazing work with the others?
Definitely not. No, because that was really the beginning. That was the beginning of a lot of things in tennis, not just for women, but the commercialism and just the idea that women could obtain, positions of power. Of course, we have a presidential race, and we have Kamala Harris, a woman of color, and I think all of that stems from way back when. And the original nine were brave enough to, take the risk because we were suspended and kept from playing some of the major events. But, all in all, when I look back, I would say that, I'm most proud of being someone who influenced.
How far have we come? Have we come far enough?
Well, I don't think we've come far enough, obviously. There's always more. Even though in certain situations it appears that we are equal and that we have the same amount of prize money, but there are a lot of things that, we are still behind the men. I mean, they were uh, in the picture playing sports way before women. And so it's going to take a while for women to continue their progress and believing that they can obtain and have the same things that men in sports have had. I mean, you see, the NBA, you see the WNBA, you see the LPGA, and you see the PGA. There's still some discrepancies in venues and exposure, and still prize money when you see the work field, what men make and what women make. There's still a lot of room to equal.
I was going to ask you where the gaps are. I guess you'd say the WNBA and the golf tours are
Yeah.
mostly where you see women not getting equal pay.
And we're still coming along. I mean, the women's soccer, they've won everything. They've won, the World Cup. They won, gold medals and everything. And they have to fight so hard to finally, get the prize money or be paid somewhat equal to what the men's gets paid. And they're still not equal. The Women's Hockey League has just been formed. And again, there's only 6 teams, whereas in the men's there's probably 3 times as many. So it's a slow progression, and a lot of things are happening, but we have to look at it as global. A lot of things happen a lot faster here in the States than they do in Europe or in Asia, and so it's a long process because men have always governed basically most of the world, and certainly in sports they've been the ones to be the promoters and the sponsors and having the money. And so we're hoping and encouraging women who have businesses to support women.
When you look back on your career, I mean, the journey you made from the beginning to the Women's Pro Tour is remarkable. From where you started, and I mean, do you see it that way? Or you look back and you think, oh my gosh, how I grew up in in El Salvador and then Northern California, and then moving around more, and I'm suddenly, I'm on the tennis court, and then I'm rocketing to fame.
Well, of course, from where I came, my background, I mean, being a Latino from the wrong side of the tracks, I mean, tennis really wasn't a sport that we would even aspire to. So, it's encouraging to see that you could become a star, you could become someone who can influence other Latinos and other women to play a sport and to realize that they can earn a living, and that there are fans out there that want to see women's sports. So, yeah, it's been a great ride. I certainly, look back and am, very proud and fortunate that I happen to have played tennis, because it's something that I still love, and I hope to continue in whatever form, whether I can run to the ball or not, but we still hit some balls and enjoy it, and it's definitely a sport that I will always love.
How is the effort to bring the Hispanic community into tennis, and are you part of that?
Of course. Well, it's like anything, it takes time, and they have to see more successful Latinas playing the game as well as Latinos. And I think that's all happening. I live in California, and we have a huge population of Latinos. So it's, again, the same thing. They need to see the opportunities made available to them, and we need more programs in different areas to make sure that everybody has, equal opportunities to be able to play a sport, and certainly tennis has always been a very exclusive sport, and it kind of still is, and it's changed some, but perhaps not enough.
I think that's everything I have, Rosie. If you're okay,
You,
that's
you
good.
threw everything at
Okay,
me.
good. Thanks. I want to ask you while he's getting some cutaways, a
Uh
couple
huh.
of things. First of all, back then, women's tennis, there wasn't a lot of personality. At least it wasn't like in social media, and there wasn't as much exposure. You pretty much came through and you were names. Billie Jean King was a huge name, of course, and Chris Everett. But what made you such a fan favorite? Do you think? Because you were always a fan favorite. Whenever I'd go to those tournaments, you had a huge following, a huge crowd behind you. Was it? Do you think it was um, for
Well,
any
I
particular
mean,
reason?
I think people enjoyed how I played, and I was very passionate about how I played. I mean, I was fun to watch. I mean, I'm very athletic, and
Mm-hmm.
so I think they enjoyed the style of play and the, fiery
Mm-hmm.
personality and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And I don't know. I'm going to have to ask some of my fans what they like, but I think they like the fact that I did
Mm-hmm.
fight hard and
Right.
tried not to give up and tried to win.
Right. And growing up playing tennis, I knew nothing about the nine women that broke ground on bringing up the women's sports and women's tennis. But I've seen it in movies, and they really paint a dark picture of like Jack Kramer and guys like that. Is it true? Was he really that much
Well,
of a
it
bad guy?
wasn't for women's tennis,
Mm-hmm.
and that was one reason why we went to Houston
Mm-hmm.
because he promoted the Pacific Southwest in Los Angeles, and the ratio for prize money was 10 to 1, and so the guys were getting so much, and we went to him and said, "Well, will you get us more prize money? Will you give us more?" He said, "Absolutely not."
Mm-hmm.
And so we said, "Well, if you don't give us you know somewhat equal prize money," and
Mm-hmm.
we were overreaching at that point to talk about equality. He